We are hearing Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday we heard Arjuna said, I have one doubt, and you, Krishna, you are omniscient. Only you can remove this doubt of mine, no one else, because they are not omniscient. So we have to take proper guidance from bona fide Guru or Krishna, then that will help us progress for eternal welfare. He asked, if someone does yoga and he does not get perfection and he already gave up sakama karma in order to practice yoga, then if he will not get perfection in yoga, eternal bliss, then he will be deprived of everything. He will neither have worldly happiness nor eternal bliss. So he will be like riven cloud. Then Krishna told, no, it is not like that. One who wants eternal welfare, he will not fall down. Means that will not be lost at any time. If he is doing yoga and he dies before he gets perfection, then in next life he will again get chance to practice and from where he stopped. And he will also get some facilities, favorable facilities. If from little practice, then he will be born in such family where they will not give obstacle to him, and they will be wealthy, and so he has more economic freedom, and he can spend more time for worship of Krishna directly. I met one devotee when I was going from Calcutta on the airport. So we spoke. He was elder than me and maybe 10 years elder. So we spoke. He said he was in Mayapur and we spoke. Then I asked him what he said he was a long time there. Then I asked him how you are, what you are doing for your living. He said nothing. I don't need to, because my parents are very rich. So I don't need to do any this thing. I can spend time in Mayapur, I can chant, I can do this. So it can happen like this. Or one will be, if after long practice, he will be born in a family of yogis or Vaishnavas, and he will get the direct facility also. I gave example of this, our that Shiva. Now his name is Srinivas. He is from Tezpur. He was born next door to the mat. So from birth he was constantly in the mat, and now he's in the mat in Mayapur. And if you see him, he's very happy in such environment. He's doing all sevas, and he's like at home, not any difficulty. And some are born in families of Vaishnavas. They are doing bhajan, so nothing will be lost. It may be covered sometimes if someone commits some offense, but even that will not be destroyed. When that offense will be removed, he will not have to start from beginning, but from where he stopped. And here, it is just in next life he will continue. So only some shift is there from this life to another life, another body, but he can do bhajan. Here we heard, O son of Kuru, born in such a family, of yogis or Vaishnavas, he regains his prenatal intelligence and out of natural aptitude again strives after perfection in yoga. That we heard yesterday. Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate hyavashopi saha jigyasur api yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. By virtue of his previous practice of yoga, he, as perforce, led to it again. And desiring that Nishkama Karma Yoga itself again, he transcends the Sakama Karma enjoined by the Vedas. By virtue of his previous practice of yoga, he, as perforce, led to it again. Naturally, he will go, and desiring that Nishkama Karma itself again, he transcends the Sakama Karma enjoined in the Vedas. Because when you get superior thing, easily you can give up inferior thing. Prayatnatyatamaanastu yogi samshuddha kilbishaha aneka janma samsiddhas tatoyati param gatim. Then the yogin begins to practice yoga with greater fervor and assiduity than before. And the more he approaches perfection, the greater is his freedom from all blemishes, until he reaches final beatitude or perfection in yoga after steadfast and constant practice through many a birth. This is the status of a fallen yogin in his next birth. Fallen means he did not yet complete his course. He did not get yet perfection. Sometimes there is some fall due to offense, but here means that he is just fallen, means not yet perfect. If he's sincerely practicing, but that came, so he's still a fallen soul because not perfect. So such a fallen yogi will continue in next life. It does not mean like some fall from where he reached and from there he will fall. That is possible if commits offense. So here he will again with more fervor, means with more enthusiasm and assiduity, this I don't understand, but with more force he will do, and the more he approaches perfection, the greater is his freedom from all blemishes, from all drawbacks, anarthas and all this, he will be free. The more he is dedicated, more he will be free, until he reaches final beatitude after steadfast and constant practice through many a birth. I want to see this. E.T. If Skype is working, then the other pages are going more slow. Assiduity means constant or close attention to what one is doing. So more focus, with more focus he will do. Like we also see, or more persistence, doggedness, more tenaciousness, and fervor. Fervor. intense and passionate feeling. He will do with more force. Like we see when Bharat Maharaj became Dhir, then in his next life, he was more careful and more focused that he will not commit that mistake again, and he went to sadhus and was hearing Harikatha and eating their prasad. He was very careful. So with more fervor and assiduity than before, with more force and focus he will do, and the more he will advance, the more his drawbacks will be removed. Tapasvibhyodikho yogi jnanibhyopi mathodikaha karmibhyaschadiko yogi tasmat yogi bhavarjuna. O Arjuna, in my opinion, a nishkama karma yogin is superior to a tapasvin, means ascetic, one who is doing austerities, superior even to a jnanin or impersonalist, and is therefore far superior to a sakama karmin, means fruit seeker. Hence, be do a nishkama karma yogin. Explanation. O Arjuna, compare with balanced discrimination the gradation of superiority among the karmins, jnanins, tapasvins, and yogins. In my opinion, a nishkama karma yogin, worshipper of Paramatman, consecrating all actions and fruits thereof to him, is superior to a tapasvin, ascetic who performs severe austerities like Chandrayana, etc. Chandrayana is one tapasya, one austerity where you regulate your eating, like reducing, and there in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary there it is in detail. So there are different types of tapasya, and superior to a jnanin, advocate of impersonal abstract Brahman, and is therefore far superior to a karmin or a seeker of fruit of his action. Hence, O Partha, be do a Paramatma yogin who is by far superior to all the other yogins mentioned above, by virtue of his unflinching devotion to Paramatman, the immanent aspect of the Supreme Lord. All present. Immanent. Existing or operating within, inherent, immanent, of God, permanently pervading and sustaining the universe. Yes, often contrasted with transcendent, immanent and transcendent. Transcendent means like Krishna Lila is always doing his Lila, that is transcending this world, and immanent means present in this world, all pervading everywhere. That is immanent aspect of God. Synonyms means pervasive, pervading, permitting, omnipresent, ubiquitous. Yes. The immanent aspect of the Supreme Lord. Yoginam api sarvesham madhgatenantaratmana shrantavan bhajate jomam sameyukta tamo mataha. Of all yogins, the yogin who practices the cult of pure devotion stands foremost. He who worships me with a firm faith, coupled with unswerving devotional law, is considered by me as the most devout of yogins. Explanation. Among the ritualistic performers of duty, those who are seekers after fruit, sakama karmins, cannot be called yogins. The nishkama karmins, the jnanis, the ashtanga yogins, and the bhaktas are all yogins because they are linking to God. In fact, yoga is one and is dynamic, and it means a union or a uniting path consisting of several stages leading a yogin from the lowest ladder of sakama karma to the highest realization of his real self, of Paramatman, and of Bhagavan. Nishkama Karma Yoga is the first stage of that path. Means when you do Varna, Ashram and Dharma duties, as per scripture, but you offer to Supreme Lord, to Paramatma, all the fruits and actions. When Jnana, intelligence, and Vairagya, genuine asceticism, are added to it, it becomes Jnana Yoga. The second stage. When deep meditation on Paramatman is added to Jnana Yoga, it becomes Ashtanga Yoga, the third stage. 1 second. I have to see. Then he becomes Ashtanga Yoga, the third stage. When love of Krishna is added to Ashtanga Yoga, it becomes Bhakti Yoga, the fourth stage. So yoga is like a great staircase consisting of so many stages. To give a clear-cut exposition of yoga, mention of the above partial yogas is made. Those who are desirous of eternal good must have recourse to yoga. The gradational steps are meant for higher progress in spiritual realization, and a yogin must not be contented with or confined to a particular step, which retards his further spiritual progress. Yes, he must not stop. He has to further progress. He should not be contented or confined. Then he will be blocked there. That will block his further spiritual progress. If anyhow a yogin is apt to cling to a particular stage, he is earmarked by the name of the yoga of that stage. For this reason, some are designated karmins for their special predilection to a particular step in the big staircase of yoga. Some jnanis, some ashtanga yogins, and some bhaktas. But he whose ultimate end is unalloyed devotion to me, with his body, mind, and soul, is the greatest of all yogins. Hence, O Arjuna, be do a bhakta yogin. No, bhakti yogin, that is to say, a true devotee of me. So according to his stage, he will be designated karmi, jnani, or so, but supreme and the best, and that is the ultimate goal, where the sadhana also becomes the sadhya, the goal itself. It does not lead to anything superior. In sadhana, in bhakti, there are two stages. From sadhana bhakti, one reaches to bhava bhakti and prema bhakti. But after reaching prema bhakti, there is no further steps. That action is the goal itself. Also, bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya. By sadhana bhakti means devotion can produce devotion, or devotion produces devotion is by sadhana bhakti you get bhava and prema bhakti in Bhagavatam. Gist of this chapter. The first stage to attain transcendental knowledge is Nishkama Karma Yoga. Then follows contemplation on God, that is to say, Dhyana Yoga. Next comes Ashtanga Yoga, which aims at Kaivalya Ananda. Lastly comes Bhakti Yoga, which aims at divine love, the summum bonum of human life. Then there are questions to this chapter. What is the distinction between a sannyasin and a yogin? Second verse. Second verse. O Pandava, know that to be Nishkama Karma Yoga, which the Panditas call Karma Sannyas, because he who has not been able to renounce the fruits of his action can never be a yogin. So the terms sannyas and yoga are synonymous. There is no difference, because if one does not give up fruits, he cannot be yogi or sannyasi. Yes. Then next question. How can one become a yogin? If he renounces the fruits of his actions, he can be yogin. What are the characteristics of a yoga rudha? That is one who is going to attain perfection. That is from 7 to 11 verse. No, the yoga rudha is one who already got perfection, yoga rudha. And there is another one is yoga rudha, and practitioner is arurukshu. Yes, arurukshu or aspirant yogins, and one who already got is arudha. So arudha, perfected, here we heard, has control over his mind, is not perturbed by any opposites in this world, heat, cold, or honor, dishonor, nothing. And he is deeply absorbed in meditation on the Supreme Lord. Self-restrained, and he sees everyone equal, and mind composed, and he is not in, he's secluded, not in evil company, means those who are averse to Krishna. All this is one who already got perfection. His own transcendental platform has many such divine qualities which no conditioned soul can imitate. Even if they try to imitate, they will not be able to. That is why before one accepts someone as a guru, it is stated in Shastra, one has to observe him for like 1 year. He can take time for 1 year to observe the character of Guru, whether he is really on transcendental platform, because I may imitate or do, but certain circumstances will prove. That is why 1 year is there. Certain circumstances will prove whether he becomes disturbed, whether he becomes angry or lusty or all these things. Because everyone can speak nice lecture. That is not difficult. But what is the practical life of one person, or what stage of realization one already got, that is also important for accepting a guidance. So these characteristics we have to observe. What is meant by yoga yukta? Yoga yukta. Six to eight. The mind is a friend to Jiva who has control over it, and enemy to one who does not have. And all these qualities which I told, and he is self-content with Gyan and Bigyan, means transcendental realization of his own self and Godhead. Ever through to his own real self, self-restraint, and all this. So he is knowledgeable in yoga. He has practical realization. That is important. Yoga yukta. How can a yoga rudha deeply absorb his mind? A yogin should have his mind composed in deep meditation on God, bereft of evil company, always secluded, self-controlled, void of any desire for fruitive actions, and free from contamination of unholy things. Then it is possible to deeply absorb. Otherwise, mind will wander here and there. As long as anarthas are there, we are having that stage, anartha nibriti. As long as we don't complete that removal of anarthas, there can be no nishta or fixation of mind to the object of worship. Because anarthas will take you to other, divert your attention. So, what are the rules and regulations for the practice of yoga? That one has to sit on asana and straight posture and seeing here, and all those, we heard all those practices of yoga. What are the obstacles in the path of yoga? I think those siddhis. Here, 16. No, gluttony means too much eating, or too much abstemiousness, not eating enough. Too much sleep or sleeplessness are all impediments to yoga. Unregulated life is impediment. What are the factors favorable to yoga? One who is moderate in eating and enjoyment, means of all senses. Whatever is necessary, he's taking in a moderate way. Not only eating, but all other senses also. And sleeping and waking, he's moderate, not sleeping too much, not too less. Is self-restraint in his enterprises. He attains yoga, or tranquility of mind, which frees him from all sorts of afflictions. When does a yogin become yoga yukta? A yogin becomes yoga yukta when his mind becomes completely disentangled from the shackles of the world and is well established in the knowledge of the transcendental. In other words, a yogin becomes yoga yukta when he is detached from all mundane desires and affinities, and his thoughts, controlled, are fixed on the self and God. When does a yogin attain to the blissful state of samadhi? He considers the blissful state of samadhi as freedom from the presence or absence of all miseries. With great patience, perseverance, and certitude, he clings vigorously to his practice of yoga. In other words, he does not lose his steadfastness in his practice, even when he faces worldly sufferings. Nor does he become impatient at the delay of his success. He is resolute, persevering, and forbearing. Then he can attain samadhi. This is same as Rupa Goswami wrote in Upadeshamrita for devotees. Utsahan nishchaya dorjat. One has to enthusiastically perform all devotional practices and with firm faith, certitude, with firm belief. Certainly, and certainty is there, firm belief, and patience. Dorja tatat karma pravartanat, he is following all scriptural injunctions, tatat karma pravartanat, sanga tyagat, he gives up association of non-devotees, and sanga tyagat sato brite, he follows in the footsteps of great saints. This we have to, if someone practices in this way, then he can attain perfection. And sadhu sangha is a great factor to inspire us to accept all this, to do this. What are the processes in the practice of yoga? He wholly relinquishes all his desires born of mind, regulates all his senses by his controlled mind, attains complete dispassion from sense percepts by virtue of his pure intelligence, and ultimately realizes his own self as a spiritual entity, fully isolated from all worldly relativities. This realization of self is possible only by regulating the mind with meditation, steady abstraction, and retraction. What are the characteristics of a yogin entranced in Brahman? A yogin entranced in Brahman visualizes with his soul's eyes the Supreme Lord as Paramatman, existing in all beings and all beings as existing in him, and thus realizes the Supreme Lord in all entities, sentient and insentient. And he sees the relation with all. Sridhar Maharaj was explaining this. Then, how we should have a relation with everyone in our relation to Supreme Lord. He was explaining this point. Then one devotee asked him that I can understand someone's relation with Krishna if he's a devotee, but how how I can see others as related to Krishna. Then Srila Sridhar Maharaj replied, like you have parents and then there are children, and some children are good children, some are naughty children. So naughty children are also related to parents, and parents, they love them, but they don't want to interfere. Krishna does not want to interfere in the relative independence of any jiva, otherwise he will be like reduced to matter, or same as being killed. So they are related as naughty children, and they are doing these things, but God does not want to kill them. He wants them that they should come to him. So in this way you have to see all jivas as related to Krishna also. Even when they are not devoted, they are related. He has love. And he gave example like some in the army, someone went to another camp, but his relative, like some mother, her child goes to another camp. So that mother does not want to kill him, but wants he should come back to this fold. So like that, all jivas are related to Krishna, even if they are not devotees. So you have to see them like that. And you have to try to motivate them to come to Krishna. But considering the relative independence also, you cannot force. In one letter, our Gurudev also wrote, if Krishna is not forcing anyone to submit to him, or Guru is not forcing, then how I can do that? It means there is some other desire in me. Because they are retaining relative independence, they try to persuade, to convince with love, but not forcing. Then that will be reduced to matter. Consciousness will be destroyed, and none will benefit from that. Or even if you force and even if you succeed to convince, it will be for some time only. Then again he will go to that old. But when time comes, like Gurudev told, when time comes, when someone gathers enough sukriti and gets the grace, then naturally he will be inclined. What is the esoteric vision of a yogin? The yogin who worships me as the all-pervading and all-permitting Lord of the universe, knowing me as the supreme principle without a second, dwells in me and I in him, whatever circumstances he may be placed in. He sees Krishna is everywhere and within him also. In all circumstances he is God conscious. What is the exoteric vision of a yogin? He is a great yogin who considers all beings as there as his own self and shares in the happiness and misery of others as his own. Samadarshan, or equable philosophic vision, consists in always wishing well of and doing eternal good to others. This eternal good to others is to motivate them to engage in the service of Krishna, to try to inspire them, not to force them, but try to inspire by ideal character and by advice with love we should do, like Prahlad did. But even though he did like this, ideally he did, still his son Virochan, he's his relative, bodily, biological relative, son. Still he could not become devotee. And Prahlad Maharaj did not become angry on him or try to beat him or kill him or anything. Because he understood that he has such bad impressions from past that he's unable to do it. I did my duty. I satisfied Supreme Lord. So, and Prahlad also got satisfaction, so there is no need for any other separate interest. So that is why he was not angry or violent to that son. He understood this is the situation. His samskaras are very bad, so what to do? And every jiva has relative independence, so this has to be considered also. We can only do our duty, and that had good impact on Virochan also. In future, his son became a devotee. And Prahlad Maharaj's father also. Prahlad tried to explain to him many times. 3 or 4 times he tried to explain to him that he should give up that demoniac mentality and to accept pure vision. But Hiranyakashipu could not accept, and he even became violent. But Prahlad never disrespected his father, always giving due respect, and did never become violent to him or anything, because he has no any such need to do it. His need, his desire is to serve Krishna. So he served Krishna. And according to situation, this was happening. Such jivas are there. So that he also accepted as the fact. And as the arrangement of Krishna, how Krishna is arranging for jivas. Jivas want to enjoy this world, so he gives them this. And he also makes arrangement for them to realize their mistake and to realize what is better for them to do. He's making that arrangement in a way that is perfect. But we, with our limited vision, we may not see, and we may become impatient, or we may have some other desires. Then we become disturbed, and we disturb others, and we become violent and disrespectful and all these things. But one who is fully surrendered to Supreme Lord and has no any other desires, he is peaceful in all happenings. Like when Gurudev came to Slovenia in 2002, then there was one public program organized, and I was with Gurudev in the apartment. Then I told him maybe today not so many people will come. So I wanted to please don't be disappointed. That was my thinking. But Gurudev's thinking is different thinking. He said, why you are worrying? Those who have Sukriti, they will come. Because Gurudev is interested only in the service of Krishna. He was sent by his Guru and Vaishnavas to Western countries to spread the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And those who have Sukriti, they will come and they will get it. So for them, Gurudev came. And he even said, the Shukadev Goswami, he came for only one person. What is the necessity of so many persons? Then if 200 people will not come, and then that is failure. No, that is not failure. Shukadev Goswami came for one person, for Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj submitted to Krishna, praying for his guidance. Then Krishna sent him Shukadev Goswami. And Shukadev Goswami came there to serve Krishna by helping this jiva to attain Krishna for one person. So he was not disturbed or asking how many people will come. because he's not interested in any worldly things. They are interested only in the service of Krishna. So, and Gurudev also said, and our Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, we heard about him, Prabhupada's disciple, he did not have any listener. He was doing kirtan for hours together. Who was his hearer, listener? Krishna and his Gurudev. He did not require any audience because he wants to do bhajan, he wants to serve Krishna. But if you want some worldly benefit, money, name and fame, or some facilities or something, then we are seeing, oh, how many people. But one who is interested in the service of Krishna, he is accepting. Some will come, some will not come. If no one comes, that is not preventing my service to Krishna. Gurudev said, I saw Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he was singing in front of Diti, Samadhi of Prabhupada in Mayapur for like 6 hours like this he was doing. No one was there. Others, they were not there. So how he was inspired to sing? The thing is, his desire is to serve Krishna, not for other purpose. If any other anarthas are there, that is disturbing. Not the circumstance. Always only anarthas. But one who has no anarthas, in all circumstances, he is peaceful and happy. Like this, the yoga yuktas, they are like that. Those who are knowledgeable in yoga, realized souls. What are the fourfold characteristics of mind? We heard. He is restless, very powerful, and 1 second. And he can disturb that intelligence. So unsteady, yes, and he can steer even the steadiest intelligence, can shake off and steer. And Balavat, very powerful, he can defy even the firmly determined intelligence. And very drida, very stern, willful, and unbending. So he is almost impenetrable, yes, and hence insuperable to be got over even by the subtlest intelligence. So these are the fourfold characteristics of mind. What are the means to control the fickle mind? Proper practice, again and again. Proper practice means that which is given in scripture. And again and again you have to try and practice vairagya, yukta vairagya, detachment. Attachment to Krishna and detachment to other things. What are the characteristics of the defaulters of Ashtanga Yoga? Characteristic. Yes. They may be those who did little practice, and there may be those who did a lot of practice. And accordingly, in next life, they will get facilities to continue their practice. Who is superior among the karmins, jnanis, tapasvins, and yogins? Yogin is superior to all. And who stands foremost of all the yogins? Bhakti yogin. That I remember. So tomorrow we will enter into 7th chapter. This was end of 6th. Dhyana Yoga, or the principle of transcendental knowledge regarding the graceful personality of the Absolute. First 6 chapters of Gita are karma. The middle 6 are bhakti. And last 6 are Gyan. So now we are entering into Bhakti. That is why graceful personality of the Absolute.